We have on the show today MARILYN Pinto, who is the founder of the Kids Finance Initiative, UAE's leading provider of financial education for kids. Her objective is to see a world where more teenagers are equipped with financial education they need in order to make smarter money decisions than the previous generations. You call yourself as a rebel educator. Mind sharing what is so rebellious about yourself?
I know I don't look very rebellious, but what I am rebelling against is the education system. I think our education system is selling our kids short for what they're capable of. Our kids are capable of learning and doing so much more, and I don't think our education system is doing them justice. I mean, if you ask anybody what was their learning experience in school or college, they're going to say they were either bored or they were confused. It's one of those two. And if we do say we had fun, the fun we had was not because of the learning. The fun we had was because of our social experiences, because of our friends. Very few people actually say they enjoyed the learning. I really haven't come across anybody. And that is what I'm rebelling against, because I believe that education should be empowering, should be exhilarating, should be exciting to be about. That's what true education is. And I complained about it for a long period of time. All of us, like, we complain about it. And then I read this saying by Bozoma St. John, where she says, we spend so much time complaining about the way things are that we don't realize that we have the power to change anything and everything. And that's what I decided to do. I'm done complaining. I'm now here to actually revolutionize the education system, which we have started doing. And that's what the Kids Finance Initiative is about. It's about teaching kids in a way that's different, teaching them in a way that's exhilarating and empowering, and teaching them something that they can actually use in their life. So this is like, was a labor of love, not just for my kids who I initially started this for, but for any kid who'd like to learn differently.
That's a wonderful initiative, a wonderful crusade that you're running. You have done extremely well, and all the very best for the future too.
Thank you, Premraj. That's very kind of you.
Thanks. Most parents have had no handholding about money matters when they were growing up. Hence, they feel their kids also will feel their way around as they grow up. Your take on how to break this chain?
Well, you're right. It's true. A lot of parents, we feel inadequate to talk to our kids about money because most of us haven't had this conversation, haven't had formal training about the subject at all. This wasn't taught to us in school. Financial literacy wasn't a thing when we were growing up. And unfortunately, all of us have learned by, the hard way, by making mistakes, by trial and error, which is not really the best way to learn, not the best way to make progress. And why should our kids still be, and if we don't stop this now, our kids are going to repeat the same mistakes of the past generation. And that's really what I want to stop. I mean, I want you to imagine, all of you, just imagine that you're 15 again, okay? You're back in school, you go to the same school, you hang out with the same group of friends, you live in the same house. Everything is exactly the same. But there's just one thing that has changed. You know, at the age of 15, how to make smarter money decisions. You know how to avoid making stupid ones. You know how to save properly. You know the importance of investing. I'd like you to imagine what an impact this would have made for your life. Honestly, it's depressing when I think about it. If I had known this at 15, and by looking at your faces, I can tell that most of us feel the same way, that if we had this knowledge now that we had when we were 15, our lives would have been so much better in so many different ways, not just materially. And now imagine giving that gift to your child. And then you begin to understand how important this is and why I feel so strongly about teaching this to kids when they are young. So yes, I understand that as parents, we feel that we are not the right people to teach them or we don't know enough. But there are three things that we should understand. Learning about finance, learning how to handle your money and make smarter money decisions is not difficult. It's very easy to teach. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to spend years and years studying it. There are a few main concepts. This is just a myth that you need to study for years and years to be smart about money. You don't. It's really actually very simple. Okay, you just need to spend you just need a few concepts, and once you know those, once you actually use them, you're well on your way to actually being financially smart. And the third thing is that you begin to see the results almost immediately. It's not like you got to wait for 3 and 4 years to see the results. As your child's going through the program, as soon as they've done the program, if it's the right program done in the right way, you're going to see your results pretty much instantaneously. We've seen that in all the kids that have come through our program, and that's why I can speak about it so confidently. As parents, we delude ourselves into thinking that schools or university is going to teach our kids this. It's not going to happen. There is no school, no college, no university under any curriculum, whether it's the Indian curriculum or UK or US or IB. I've done the research. I have gone through they do not teach your kids about money. Your kids might be studying commerce. They might be doing an MBA program. I've done one myself. What it taught me about money was a big fat zero, nothing. Right? And I thought maybe things have changed. I thought, it's minus 15 years, 20 years ago. I'm sure things have changed. They haven't changed. They're still teaching the same thing. They still aren't. I've gone through in detail. You can do a postgraduate program in banking and finance, and I have gone through the curriculum of so many universities teaching this. They're teaching you everything under the sun: tax law, compliance, you name it, and they are teaching you this. There is not even a half an hour session on teaching you how to make smarter money decisions, how to act with your personal money. They teach you how to handle company money. Oh, you're doing a great job at that. Your company balance sheet looks amazing. Your personal balance sheet, yeah, that's a whole different story. Now, I find this honestly diabolical. Like, why are we not doing this? I'm signing up for a banking and finance program, and the kids unfortunately think that because I studied commerce, or because I've done economics, or because I've done an MBA program, I know all there is to know. No, you don't. You don't. This isn't covered, and this is part of the delusion that I really think most of us parents feel that our kids are going to learn this in school. They aren't. That's why it's important that we need to take steps to make sure that our kids learn this. That's the first one. That's the most important one. The second mistake I would say is we think our kids will figure it out on their own. I mean, we learned this, so they'll figure it out. Really, that's not a very great way to do things, because yes, they might figure it out, but the cost in terms of time and money it can be very, very expensive. And that is kind of what we're looking to do, that don't let them figure this out on their own. There's an easier way. There's a safer way. Why wait for them to make the same expensive mistakes that you did when there is an easier, safer, cheaper way of doing things? And that is what we are talking about. The third thing is, I think parents don't realize the impact of having an early start. The only surefire way to make sure your kids are wealthy when they grow up is to teach them and start when they're young, for a number of reasons. One, they harness the power of compound interest, which that in itself is super powerful. A lot of people, grown-ups, the parents come to me and said, can you do programs for us? Can you teach us? And I'm like, no, actually, I can't, because it's just too late. You guys have that ship has sailed. But for your kids, I know I can. It's a no-brainer. It's easy to teach them, because also as you grow up, your mindset is formed, your habits are formed. It's very difficult to change. You need a lot of motivation. You need someone who's very, very strong to change after they've grown up. But with a kid, you're hardwiring it in the infancy stage. It's easy. It's like a hot knife through butter. It's that easy. And I like easy work. So I will take the kids, because it's easy to do. I see impact almost immediately. They're also so much more fun. So so that is part of what I say, that we as parents, we tend to diminish the power of the early impact of starting early, teaching it to them when they're young. Most kids have a concept of money. They understand the concept of money by the time they're 6 or 7. By the time they're 10, their mindset and habits are already formed. And I've seen this every year that they come to us that is later. It's more difficult for them to learn, because they have to do a lot of unlearning. You have to empty your cup first. Whereas we're starting with a young child, they don't have any preconceptions. You can set it right in the first place, and it's cheaper, it's faster, it's so much more effective to do. I like easy work. So that's part of why I think the impact is really great. And that's something that as parents, we tend to discount, that, my kids will learn it when they're grown up. It doesn't really work that way.